following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Blowing out of the backfield, exploding down the sideline.
This is Hangin' with the Boys, presented by Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings.
Cowboy Nation, it is deja vu all over again. We are 30 hours away from some Dallas Cowboys preseason football, and you're looking at a live shot at the Ford Center and Tostitos Plaza here at the beautiful headquarters of the Dallas Cowboys in Frisco, Texas. And if this is my last time, I'm going out with a bang, Jesse. You are now rocking with the best. Yeah. This is Hanging with the Boys, and I'm with the gang for the last time today because we're going back to our regular podcast with Kurt Daniels, yes, Danny Sarek, and Jesse Holly here in the building. And guys, if you had an opportunity yesterday to tune in to the press conference yesterday, there were three little initials that were blurted by our fearless leader, Michael Romeo India, which he will be taking on Monday when the team gets back into town. I don't know if he's obviously, I think he's going to Arizona. We don't know that. But guys, I need to know, and I'll start with you, Kurt. What did that give you warm and fuzzies when Dak Prescott said that he was getting another MRI on that shoulder?
Well, when I first heard it, the immediate reaction is, what's going on? But the more I read about it and kind of heard about it, it sounds like they're just checking to see how things are going, and they want to see if it has improved. It's just an update. He's throwing some in practice. It doesn't look like hard, but he's throwing some, which is a good sign. So I think when I'm telling myself, I'm trying to stay positive. I don't want to get the Tums out here. I'm thinking that this is just part of the progress and to see where he's at right now. So hopefully it's going the way it should.
Look, the team wouldn't have him do those smaller, lighter throws he was throwing to Amari Cooper, who's coming off his injury now. So they wouldn't have him do even those throws if they were truly concerned that he had moved backwards in terms of his progress or was feeling worse. So that makes me feel a little more at ease of maybe this is just more, let's make sure before we have him going full speed in practice, before we make a decision if he's going to play in that third preseason game, let's get the MRI again, make sure he's good to go, and that the rest and the cautionary protocols they've been taking have done their job.
Fire in the hole.
No. I have a feeling you're not going to be on the same page.
My only concern was, why wait till Monday? Is there not an MRI machine?
Well, that's
true.
true.
They did an MRI last week,
they
right?
Did.
So I start looking kind of, why Monday? Well, why
maybe
wait?
They want to get him back here, where maybe our facilities are different. I don't know.
I don't know. Like MRIs are MRIs, correct? I mean,
last time I checked,
Jim Maurer will be here. Jim Maurer will be there. Britt will be there. Greg will be. I don't know the difference between getting it done right then and there and having a.
Do they want a few extra days to maybe they had a goal of 14 days, whatever, till we check the next MRI? Do you think it's something like that?
That's the question that we all. I mean, this is the question that we're asking. My thing is always, I don't go get MRIs, CAT scans, CT scans, or whatever scan you want to go get unless there's something wrong. Now, I'm not pushing the button, and I'm not saying that something is wrong, and they can be doing a checkup. But that just goes to show that, again, we were misled because we were told it was fatigue. Mm-hmm. And then we hear that there's experts being consulted, other sports team physicians are being consulted, and it went from a few days to we're like almost 2 weeks. He did a light throwing, and we'll get more into the Hard Knocks thing of things. But when you heard him in Hard Knocks, and when it was kind of like, well, where did it kind of come from, right? And it was the follow through, and so what he did in practice was a bunch of light throws. There was nothing that had any zip behind it. It wasn't like he was throwing hard passes. So maybe you get to a point where I'm able to kind of loft some up. But what happens when you got to throw some zip behind it? Now, if they've done that off camera, we haven't heard any reports about it. But that's just my biggest thing is when you start adding MRIs and multiple MRIs to situations, it's cause for concern. I don't care who spins it or how they spin it. There is cause for concern in this shoulder.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're. I mean, I'll be surprised if he plays the third preseason game. And they were talking about they want to get him out there. And I don't know. Like before when they said, "Oh, this is just a fatigue injury," and "Oh, yeah, he'll play in the third preseason game." I kind of wish they'd just be quiet, not get our hopes up, keep it, be honest about it in some ways.
And you talk about the drama. That's what we major in is the drama is making sure that everyone is on the edge of their seats. And all of Cowboy Nation, all of the sports community, football, NFL, everybody's on the edge of their seat trying to figure out what's going on with Dak's shoulder. But at this point, and I played around with it about the anxiety of what it feels like to know going into a season that you may not have your number one quarterback. But we're getting into that point where he hasn't thrown with the ones in 13 days? We're at the 13th day of this. So if we continue this trend of him not throwing, the team is back here on Saturday, practices Monday, another preseason game approaching, he may not play in that game. Are we sure that Dak is going to be ready for the beginning of the season?
It doesn't concern me about the fact that he's had 13, 14 days without throwing to his ones. Because first of all, the ones, we're talking Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. Even if you want to go down, Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson, the tight ends. These are the ones he's had all last year with the exception of really CeeDee years before that. And also, given it wasn't any official way of doing things by any means, but in the offseason, Dak had all of these guys out to his house every day practicing and throwing out on the field. So it doesn't concern me as much that he's gone maybe 2 weeks without throwing to his ones because these are people he has that chemistry with already.
But let me ask you this, Danny. With the injury from last year, knowing that he has the ankle, knowing that he wouldn't have, if he doesn't play in the preseason game, does that worry you? I mean, even with the familiarity, is there a rust component to this that we're not looking at because he's a quarterback? You would like for your quarterback, the reason why you give him those reps in preseason is to get him in rhythm. Do you worry about that?
I don't necessarily think I worry as much from the ankle standpoint. I think he's ready. I think it doesn't really seem like a lot of the reason they were, of course you want to be cautious getting back into things, but it doesn't seem like they had any concern going into the season of like, oh, I don't know, he's really going to be ready on that ankle. That doesn't seem to have been a concern by any means. I'm just wondering, when is he going to get hit? It's that mental aspect that he's talked about of you need to get hit once, realize you can get up or maybe do a run, right? Because that's how he hurt his ankle. I think once you get those mentally and you realize I can still do this, then you're fine. I don't necessarily worry about rust of coming off the injury per se physically.
And the part that's concerning to me is if you said, you know what, he's not going to play any preseason games. Okay, cool. Then that tells me that he's going to get all of the practice reps, right? All of the ones practice reps, and he can kind of keep that rhythm and that kind of the mojo and everything. But now when you're taking away preseason games and you haven't practiced throwing the ball in a live setting as far as practice-wise in 2 weeks, and I'm sure they're not going to start Monday and just throw him back into the fire where he's firing, 40, 50 passes in a practice again. So now you limit that practice as well. So you're not getting games and you're limited to what you can do at practice. While he's there mentally, there is a rust component when it comes to this, especially for a quarterback who isn't the most accurate passer that we have.
To begin with.
Yeah. He doesn't come with, one of his qualities isn't when you talk about Dak Prescott is, oh my God, he's super accurate with the football, right? You have to go down the list of things before you get to the accuracy part when describing Dak Prescott, the quarterback. Well, when you're taking away these reps and you're not playing in preseason games and you're not practicing week in and week out, and then the season comes, those count. Those count.
Yeah.
And we all know that when you go back and you watch a 65, 70 play game from an offensive standpoint, and we've heard Coach say it all the time, there are 3 or 4 or 5 plays within that game that was kind of the determining factor of that game. Could have been a third down. Ball could have been thrown behind. Could have been a little bit too high. Could have been a step late, a tick late on releasing the ball. Whatever those things may be, those are rust factors for any quarterback. And that goes from your Peyton Mannings to your Tom Brady's to your Aaron Rodgers. Those type of things you need to work through, and a lot of those guys use, if not the preseason games, every single rep in practice to get those things worked on. Yeah. And so now when you're taking those away and you're stripping those away from him, and again, I don't want to sound redundant, to an already not specifically accurate passer, that to me is a cause for concern for me.
Yeah, it's not just his ability to. I agree. He's got the mental part of it's going to be the tougher part, but like we talked about before, it's the cadence of the whole offense and, getting rhythm with the line and all that kind of stuff. And we had talked about before that this defense may not be in full sync until 5 or 6 games into the season, which means your offense better be in sync game 1 if you're going to pull out some wins. And is that going to be a problem?
Yeah.
Quick question. Just general question now going off of that. I want to hear what you two think of, like, in terms of the rust and Dak, right, and getting those reps. Like, how much of that rust is not just on him, but also working with this offensive line he didn't have last year? Like, it's how much of getting through that rust if you want the offense to be so great early on? It's cohesive.
Yeah, I would think that, like you had talked about it, I think.
Like, even if Dak weren't hurt, right, we would still be expecting rust because of the offensive line coming off injuries, no?
Right, but you get a chance to work that in practice.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So when you take him off the practice field for a significant amount of time, he's not able to do those things.
Yeah. It's not just the relationship with the receivers; it's the whole. whole
it's
offense.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody. It even gets down to Danny and Kurt and heck, it gets down to even Kellen Moore, because offensive and defensive play column is rhythm. It's like a shooter. When they get in that pocket and that it just flowing, that's how guys get into the game, right? And so for Kellen, I need to be my quarterback to start seeing some things in practice. Start saying, "Oh, I like this play." Check, check, check. And I need to get into a rhythm and in a sync with my quarterback. And even though they have the relationship, I need us to get out there and work. I need us to get out there and for Dak to go, "Hey, listen, on this one right here, I love the play. Hey, let's make this 18 yards. Let's make this 18 yards. Or, hey, look, I know you had Zeke do this. Hey, let's try this route." Because that's the back and forth conversation that goes on between veteran quarterback and offensive coordinator, that they can have these discussions, and then you can go back into the meeting room and sit down and go, "All right, we love these plays. Is there anything that you want to switch, tinker with, change, whatever it may be?" But you don't have that when Dak is sitting over on the sideline and you're not having him in the practice, because he needs to be in the driver's seat. I can stand over there and see it happen, but when I'm standing looking down the barrel of the gun, now I can kind of see and feel how I want things to work around me.
No, that's the one. I love the analogy about the shooters in basketball. Guys like Kobe Bryant, they arrived to the stadium 5 hours before the game to get in rhythm. Dak, in contrast to that, has been held out of OTAs. He's been held out of team going into camp right when the pads are put on. He can't participate in live action. So to simulate that, I know the man has a football field at his house. So I know he's been throwing. But like you said, when you start saying names like Tom Brady, when you start talking about the upper echelon, the guys that have done it at a high level in this league for a long time and how they've participated in preseason, we can't take him out of that, because he hadn't reached that level yet. Mm-hmm. And so when you think, for me, it was last year versus the Cleveland Browns when you saw Dak actually unveil his arm strength on a throw in the red zone to Amari Cooper in between 2 defenders. Now, that showed to me that he's been working on that. He did it. Here's the play right here. And his ability as a progression as a quarterback, he looks at his first read, which is something that staring down receivers in his first couple of years may have been the problem, but that That right
But
there.
Can I just tell you, from a football guy, from the receiver position, that didn't happen on Cleveland Brown Day. That happened in training camp.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go back and watch the great Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. Right? It's a post route. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. Right? Like his steps. When Dak's back, when Amari Cooper goes in motion, and Dak sees the defense shifts, he knows exactly where the ball is going. He knows, watch him. As soon as he hits that back foot, 1, 2, 3, the ball is gone. And that window goes quick. He knows where he's going with the football. Amari knows where he's going with the football. And that type of energy, that type of knowing, of precision, of everything, that's from practice. Now, that very pass, if you're rusty and it's short,
that's gone to the house.
Yeah.
picked off. You might be Amari might be going down to Baylor Scott and White for an MRI on his head.
Yeah, that
it might
safety's
be
coming.
picked off. Right? There's some that throw right there is a throw that you can't make with rust. But that shows you when you're in that rhythm, when you know what's going on, when you have that rust knocked off, when you're in sync. Right? That's when that type of plays happen. When that window closes, because it happens quick. And I always think about Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman when you look at that bang 8 post. That was one of the plays where Mike had to know
ESP.
They had to know. Troy, when that back foot hit, that ball was coming out on a rope. Mike knew it. Troy knew it. And he knew how many steps he had before that safety got there. He knew how to catch the ball. He knew everything. But that comes from the stuff that you do in practice. And when you hold him out and he's not getting it, forget the preseason games, right? Fine, no preseason games.
Yeah, you always hear about those great like Roger Staubach. He didn't know, he didn't see Drew there. He just knew Drew would be there.
Right. You need that practice. Not a game. No, I'm not going to go all AI on it. But we're talking about practice.
Let's be optimistic. Let's say the MRI Monday, okay, he's great, good to go. Tuesday, he is full go from here on out. Not playing in the last 2 preseason games, but if he gets those last few weeks of practice, do you feel that's enough to shake off the rust and make up for these 2 weeks,
Heck
2.5 weeks he'll miss?
Heck no. Because we opened the season on Thursday night in Tampa, and Tampa has an axe to grind with the NFL. And it really we're coming into town like the pig with the apple in his mouth. Because it's the world champions. They want to set the NFL on notice. They won the Super Bowl not because of Tom Brady, but because of that defense. If you did not know, you will find out on Thursday. And I don't want to see Dak in his first live action in that. I would like to get some reps before that.
If he's not ready for this 3rd preseason game, would you put him out there with the starters for some work in the 4th one, which is traditionally a give-up game or whatever?
If you tell me that he is all go, there's no restrictions for him at practice, I'm actually okay for him not playing any of the preseason games.
Jesse, I can't believe you just said that.
Listen,
I cannot believe you
I am a preseason guy. I think preseason is necessary.
But you just made the whole thesis based off of what you just said.
My thesis was, if you're not going to play in preseason games, I need you to be able to go and do everything in practice.
Take all the reps.
You have to take every single rep. Like, that has to happen. If you're not going to play in preseason, there can't be any restrictions on you at practice.
What about what Danny was saying, getting the hit and all that, getting the real pressure? They're coming after. They're not holding up.
My thing is most quarterbacks don't take a live hit until the game anyway, right? A lot of time. You hit Tom Brady in practice if you want to.
Oh, no. You get on a break.
Rodgers if you want to.
That's what I'm saying.
You hit Patrick Mahomes
if you want to.
to.
Game to get hit,
None of those guys go to preseasons and get hit. None of those guys do. So the hitting part, to me, I am so confident in Dak's mental ability. And simply because he's been through a lot. And the quote that he made, it gives me chills when I hear him say it, when he says that adversity opens up the door for opportunity. That is so profound to me, because when you are faced with that type of situation, whether it's be moms, the depression, or brother, and all that kind of stuff, and you're able to bounce back from that, dog, if you hit me on a football field, it's not really going to rattle me. Like, I've overcome a lot. I've overcome my mom, losing my mom. I've overcome, the stuff that happened to me in the draft, before the draft. I've overcome being the number 4 guy when I first got to Dallas behind Jamil Showers and worked my way up. I've overcome the contract stuff hanging over my head for 3 or 4 seasons trying to get paid. I've overcome a pandemic, depression, my brother taking his life. I've overcome a lot of stuff mentally. That's mental toughness. So to go out there and have to take a hit, to me, and I could be wrong, but that's a little. The man has already showed you he ain't mentally fragile. He ain't no sucker when it comes to the mental toughness. So having to get hit for me with him, I'm thinking that's small. That's small change. The thing that's not small change is just the physical mechanics of you going out there and doing what you're supposed to do at the position. If you're supposed to be throwing the football, and this will be a pass-happy offense. I don't care what Mike McCarthy talks about. I want to make it balanced. I want to make this. No. You got weapons galore. You're going to let that thing fly. That ball is going to be passed around a lot to a lot of different cats. Well, I need the guy. I need my Tom Cruise. I need my Top Gun. I need him. I need him to be on his game. Because if he ain't, then we got a problem.
Well, you got a guy with a big old contract, and there you talk about Top Gun, there are going to be a lot of people gunning for him, and not only gunning for him on the field, but gunning for him in the media. Because, as we all know, the world is not at a shortage for haters for the Cowboys. And speaking of haters, we're going to take a break right now, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the hate that Coach Mike has been getting.
From me.
From his debut.
My guy.
Oh, Hard Knocks. We'll be
Mike.
right back with you on Hanging with the Boys.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Dallas Cowboys training camp returns to the Star in Frisco, starting with Cowboys Night, presented by American Airlines on August 16th. Watch Cowboys practice and enjoy free activities at the Star beginning at 4 p.m. Fans have the chance to catch 3 additional practices on August 20th, 27th, and 28th. Admission and parking are free. Visit thestarinfrisco.com for details. Back here at Hanging with the Boys with Kurt, Danny, and Jesse. So we were talking about haters, and I want to address some haters because after Tuesday's airing of Hard Knocks, there's been some mixed reviews on Coach Mike, and a lot of people saying that he's not authentic. It seems like it's forced. He's out of touch with his guys, and Jesse, I really wanted to tap into your NFL acumen to ask you, because you know, and you've been coached by some world-class coaches. What gives with that? Do all coaches have a mantra or a stickler, something that they want to stick on their team? But what did you think about Coach Mike's performance in Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I watched it. I had no problem with it. You have two people on. You have this Mike McCarthy fence, right? And you have people on both sides, like Democrat, Republican, right? People like you want to be on their side, and either you like Coach McCarthy or you hate him. And we all know from here on this show, I am a fan of...
What's his nickname?
Freaky Mike. I call him Freaky Mike. I call him Freaky Mike. That's what I call him. I call him Freaky Mike. And we live in this day and time of social media. And everybody wants you to be this thing for the social, for the TV, whatever. Some dudes are just not built for that. And it does not help when, and this is not a shot at Jerry Jones, but it doesn't help when your owner is such a great dude in the media. Because what happens is Jerry Jones sets the tone of what the Cowboy persona should be in the media. And then you have the brand, what it is in the media. And then if your coach doesn't match what your owner and the brand is calling for, then you're fake, you're not authentic, you really can't, we can't feel you, we can't. Some dudes, and when you look at Mike McCarthy, he's not a new age, he ain't Kyle Shanahan, right? He's not Sean McVay, he's not the new hip, I promise you he's not texting emojis.
He's not on TikTok?
On TikTok, he's not doing the acronyms. He's not that guy. He's a football dude from PA, right? If you left it up to him, all he wants to do, forget the cameras. I just want to coach. That's all I know how to do. The Zoom stuff last year, I remember talking to the rookies last year, and he jumped on the call with me before the rookies. I talked to the rookies. He hates that Zoom stuff. He hates it. Now you got to adapt because it's the new way of things, but he hates that. He hated coaching from a Zoom because that's not where he comes from. And so to me, it was all good to me, man. And I don't care what you sound like or whatever. Can it relate on the football field? That's what we should be judging him on. Not what he looks like, not what he sounds like in front of the camera. The X's and O's, the W's, the L's, that's what his grade should be on.
Danny, did he seem relatable to you?
I think he seemed like himself. I guess it's hard for me to be like, he's relatable. I am not in that setting whatsoever. And to be honest, because we haven't really had a lot of time as media members to interact with him in person. I don't feel like I know him well enough to, I guess, decide that. But I didn't have a problem with his quote unquote performance. I thought he was himself. And going off Jesse's point, in the opening presser in Oxnard, someone asked him what his initial reaction was when Jerry Jones told him that Hard Knocks was going to be out of camp. And he's like, well, I almost drove my car off the road. And I agree. I don't think this is where he feels most comfortable or most natural. So I'm sure that there's still a wall, having his guard up with all these cameras. And I'm sure the more episodes we see, we'll see him kind of loosen up. But that's also not his concern. He's not trying to be the star or be goofy or have a personality or have, a gif or something go viral from it. He's just trying to focus on football. And again, it doesn't matter if you thought the Mojo stuff was cheesy or what you think. If it works for the players, who cares?
Bill Belichick is not the most relatable dude. Who relates to Bill Belichick?
Super Bowl.
Honestly.
The Super Bowl, though.
Who? When he gets in front of the camera, who relates to Bill Belichick?
Nobody.
And the thing that I think a lot of people, fans, and there is an adjustment that has to be made when you become the coach of this football team. It is unlike any other football team that I don't care if it's the Patriots, I don't care if it's the Bucs, I don't care who it is. The level of media attention that this particular team gets is greater than any other football team in the National Football League. And it takes a level of adjustment when you spent 10, 12 years in Green Bay where we ain't really checking for Green Bay like that on the 4-letter network. That ain't in the A block. Right? The media is not crowding around Lambeau Field to interview. Right, their owners in Green Bay, the community of owners, didn't have radio shows and press. There is an adjustment when you have to become the head coach of this football team that I think a lot of people. Again, we're on such a high pedestal. Everyone gets a chance to take a shot. Because tell me, you relate to Sean Payton? Do you relate to Sean?
Yeah.
Do you relate to Bill Belichick? Andy Reid?
Yeah.
Like.
These
we don't hear about this with anyone else.
Yeah,
he was in a no-win situation. Somebody's gonna, somebody out there not gonna, gonna think he's an idiot or not relating to the players or whatever. But I think he's fine with. I mean, like you said, he's a coach. He doesn't want to get up there and grandstand for the cameras and all that.
And Danny, I really subscribe to your theory. Who cares what everybody else thinks? Because if the team is out there and they're in the red zone and guys start hollering out Mojo, then it works. He's gotten his message through to his team. When I talk about relatable, I'm thinking about other Hard Knocks before, from Sean McVay and all the other guys that have been on it. They didn't get the blaring criticism that you see Mike McCarthy have, and you're right. You're going to be polarized because of that. It's gonna happen regardless. But I think just from seeing Mike McCarthy and I watched something and I woke up the next day and everyone had something negative to say about something that I thought was a good thing. I actually got an opportunity to see his temperament, and you're right. When you have the temperament that Mike does, but also with the just a persona of Jerry Jones, how do you match that? And when you had a live camera, microphones in on that, it looks like maybe there isn't a power struggle. But when he's asking Jerry questions about, or Steven questions about, how many reps do I give Zeke, the perception starts to fly that, well, do you control this? Are you the head coach, or what are you? And so many negative things have come down through that. I mean, do you see that as something that may be a negative on him?
Again, when you're the head coach of this football team, you are a lot of times in a no-win situation. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody now has Twitter and Instagram and TikTok to voice their opinion, and they can go on Twitch and all these different things. And so for me, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, I can promise you this. I don't care who the head coach is, unless that head coach is the GM as well. When it comes down to this $15 million running back, when it comes down to the $40 million quarterback, when it comes down to the $90 million defensive end, anything that has a significant cost, you consult the people above you. When it comes down to Jesse Holley, you do whatever the hell you want to me. I'm cheap. Okay?
Nobody consults about Jesse.
Nobody consults Jesse about Jesse.
Come on, Jesse. Somebody consults about you. We didn't throw you away like that.
I got cut. Coaches didn't even know. I was calling to say thank you. They said, what happened? I said, I just got cut. It was like, wait, what? I didn't even know. They didn't consult that. When you deal with Zeke, when you deal with Dak, when you deal with Tank, when you deal with anybody who has a significant role, i.e., the checks are a little bit fatter, you consult. Again, most teams, the Rooneys aren't down on the sideline at practice. Irsay's not down on the practice. You don't know who the owners and GMs are. It just so happens for this football team, you know exactly who the owner is. He is very visible. He's hands-on. And so these type of interactions happen. And it doesn't help that the cameras are there. You know the owner's going to be there you know Jerry is going to be there when the cameras are there. He ain't missing a moment to sell the brand. It doesn't happen anywhere else but in Dallas for the Cowboys. So when he says, hey, I'm thinking about doing it, you damn right, because Zeke is $16 million a year.
So you better ask that question.
When Dak, hey, Jerry, listen, Dak showed it. You're damn right. I just gave him $1 billion. You're gonna check. You're going to check with the dude.
What did you think about a lot of the eye rolls and criticism came with the Mojo moment thing and the Austin Powers thing? But as a player, What did you think? I mean, to me, I think that creates, although it's off the wall, maybe it creates competition. It creates something different from
and
the
they all
grind of
kind of
camp.
laughed.
Yeah.
Like, again, like who cares if it works? And that's his way to, let them know, hey, this is what we're working on in practice. This is your mojo moment. Like, if that's the thing that works for him and for this team, then like, who am I to judge? Why do I care? Like
Nobody.
we were talking about, every coach has a bit.
Nobody can judge that.
And it's
I mean,
always
if
the
we
people-
were to see the behind the scenes, I feel like of what some of these coaches, like how creative and like wild the videos they create to make a point are, like people would not be so concerned with an Austin Powers clip.
But the thing is that a lot of people who are saying these things never been in a training camp. And I'm not throwing the I played football, you didn't thing, but you don't understand how draining
on any level. You talking
day in, day out. I'm away from my family. I'm stuck in these hotels. Practice is 10 hours a day. So coaches try to find any little thing that can just take the juices up another level, even if it's for a moment in time. We've heard Nate say it. We've heard Michael Irvin say it. Coach Jimmy Johnson tell Michael Irvin, start a fight today. The energy's down. Like, start some ish today. Now, that might not be the mojo that you're looking for, the Austin Powers, but because the dog days of training camp gets on you, you have to find those things that, even if it's for a moment, you can hope changes the momentum of a practice. And whether that's Michael Irvin going out there starting a fight with Darren Woodson 40 yards down the field to get guys riled up, and now you like, or that's Des Bryant saying, you can't guard me, you can't guard me, you can't guard me. It's those things in practice that take it to the next level, like, talking to me? Let's go. And now everybody's hyped. That's where you get a pretty damn good practice. So when you have these mojo things, all coaches have them. They're trying to find ways to up the energy in practice, because you can tell when you sit in that meeting room, you're looking at your players' faces, and they're like, man, I ain't been home in 20 days. I told y'all them camp eyes get real. The ladies in the house, I won't go there. But you have to find ways to get the morale of your players up. Competition does that. There's no other greater thing that gets the blood flowing to real dogs. I ain't talking about them leash puppies. I'm talking about real dogs. Than when you get a chance to go out there and mano-a-mano compete.
Well, speaking of real dogs, I think we got a real dog on the phone.
We got a
real
lap cat.
We got a real dog on the phone.
Lap cat.
It never gets old to speak to the great Nate Newton, 3-time Super Bowl champ. Nate, what's going on, man?
I'm doing all right. Jesse, I love you too.
What's up, my favorite lap cat? I love you back, brother.
Well, y'all having some great discussions, man. Some great discussions, man, on this situation, man, of competition and guys being ready to play, and how the media is attacking Coach, how he's trying to run his team, man. It's just amazing how our national media gets out there.
But chime in, and Nate, you've been coached by some of the great Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Johnson, and your experience with him, is this pretty much in line with most great coaches? They have mantras, things that they live by, culture that they're trying to instill to their team.
Yeah, Jimmy was a master. We had some games where he wouldn't even say nothing. He was just like, hey, let's go. He'd have games where he would say a lot, depending on how practices went that week, how things have been. But when he was putting things in place, he didn't say much of nothing. He just told what was expected. He allowed his coaches to set the tempo and the pace. And if things wasn't going the way he thought they should go, a lot of times he would call a meeting. He would stop practice and talk to his coaches. And tell them the tempo is not right. What are y'all doing? Are y'all not prepared? Because my players are going to take y'all lead. But each coach is totally different. Cephas was totally different than what Jimmy was. I was a player-run team. I was talking to Bucky Brooks. The Bills were totally different than everybody because they were a player-ran team. And so a lot of times you do have to depend on the competition that's there, like Jesse said, but a lot of times it's about the tempo that your coach set and the things that he's trying to put in place to get guys going. And Coach McCarthy was under a lot of strain last year, coming into a new organization, the way things are ran different, a hands-on owner that he had to deal with and matriculate through. So, but now he's got things in place. If he want a Mojo moment and these guys respond to it, which they have in practice when that comes on, they have responded to it defensively, offensively, and so let's give this man opportunity, man. And a lot of times, that's why I don't listen to the national media on a lot of things that we can see and have insight on ourselves as local personalities.
Hey, Nate, when you started, Landry was here, and he was always seen as such a reserved coach, at least on the sidelines. Did he have this kind of motivation and same type of things going on in practice?
Coach Landry was so well established by the time I got there, Kurt, he just gave you the look. He had different looks. He didn't say much. He didn't say much. I mean, his coaches coached. He had different looks. He knew everything was going on. You talking about hands-on, man. He ran out. He was the offensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator, and he was halfway of the special teams coordinator. Nothing moved without his say-so and his authority and his bird's eye view. I mean, he was hands-on, and but he didn't give a lot of speeches. He believed that if you prepare the right way in practice during the week and you have the right guys, that's what the great coaches have, is the right guys at the right places making the right plays, then the Mojo moment's going to come and they're going to be handled with authority. And Coach Landry was the ultimate leader, man. He wasn't going to say much, but he always knew what was going on, and he had his hands on every situation, even things where guys had records that was coming up. Hey, this guy got a chance to – he wouldn't say nothing the whole week. But if he see where you needed a pass or something like that, he wouldn't say nothing. He'll try to get you that pass. If he saw where you was a yard away from something, he wouldn't say nothing. He was always aware. And so he had his hands on everything.
Nate, you talked about how you've seen these Mojo moments elevate the players on offense and defense, but I'm curious how you've seen them affect the coaching staff themselves and how they've been elevated by this bid as well.
These guys never stop moving in practice. These guys always got situation. It's always a different situation and a new situation that's coming up in this. And these guys are so focused on making sure these situations and these things are handled in the correct way to you don't have to worry about much. They just hype, man. They, like most coaches are, whereas your coach may be just standing there or sitting there or not doing anything. These coaches are moving. Coach Adams, the wide receiver coach, Coach Philman with his guys, offensive line coach, Coach George Edwards, his guys with the linebackers. They're doing their things, man, and they are living in these moments. And they're hollering out formations. They're hollering out what to look for, trying to get these players to start communicating and talking to one another and being excited about this thing that's called football that we get paid for to do a child's game.
We got the great 3-time Super Bowl champion Nate Newton, and God knows where he's at. But we always appreciate.
I'm in front of El Chico's or something. Or El Chico's, or my friends are eating while my truck is getting fixed.
But we always
thank you, Mojo, my truck, Jesse. Yeah. But it's okay.
We always appreciate the maximum effort that Nate is going to give us. He's going to give us his insight, whether he at the car dealership, El Chico's, El Diablo's, wherever.
Getting his nails done.
Get his nails done, his pedicure. Nate going to come
I was in Mexico just 2 days ago, fellas. I was in Mexico 2 days ago.
Were you there for more than 2 hours?
Stuck in traffic, man.
Were you there for more than 2 hours?
I was over there from 3 o'clock. Yeah, I got at 4 o'clock. I pulled up in line, and I got through at 8:30. But it was beautiful. The people was out there. The Hispanic nation was out there selling their things, and I gave out a few extra dollars. I thought about Jesse on the porch, so I gave to the people and stuff like that. So because I felt so bad for Jesse, I'm gonna give some money to these folks, man. So Jesse will feel good.
Now, whatever you want to feel, you want to make me feel good. Keep the money and give it to me. If you want to make me feel real good, give it to me. But Nate, on a serious note,
I lost
you. We got Dak in an interview the other day talked about the MRI that he'll be receiving on Monday. Just tell me where you're at with Dak, his lack of practice, and better question is, what does Dak need to do to make you feel confident and comfortable that he's ready to go Thursday night to open up the season?
Practice. I don't need you playing in games. I need for you to practice. And don't lead us, Cowboy Nation, because y'all know I'm 100% through and through Cowboy fan. Don't continue to week in and week out. If there's something wrong, share it with the Cowboy Nation so we can know that we got to get somebody that can really compete against Gilbert. Share it with us. Don't let the season run up on us and all of a sudden, well, he's still on a pitch count. No, ain't no more pitch counts. We need for things to be open and ready to go when the season opens. Practice. I don't care nothing about what that kid said when he played for basketball. I'm talking about football. Practice is essential. I'm serious. Y'all know I'm not lying.
But we're talking about practice.
We're
talking about practice with no limitations, right? Like he needs all those first team reps. He has to be able to throw in all those periods. He can't be, like you said, on a pitch count. He can't be, missing the throwing periods or missing, different things. But practice with unabated. Go out there and go full go every single day.
Thank you. Thank you. And the quicker he does that, the better off our receivers are going to be, the better off our team going to be. And if not, if something is wrong, we will know. And now we know how to address that. And they know how to address it. But we as reporters and we as fans don't know what's going on, because the longer you go saying, oh, it's this, it's that, now we're getting another MRI, it's like, okay, once again, the Cowboys have not told us the truth. Now, once again, the Cowboys have left me, Jess, and the nation on the porch.
The great Nate from Parts Unknown. Nate, thank you so much for coming in and joining the show and always bringing a lighter mood to everything we got going on here, man. We will see you back in the studio next week, man.
Monday, man. And, I should do a show with you guys live and in Technicolor, baby, before this is over with. So we're going to let the Monday show. Y'all need to come work with the best. You've seen the rest. That's Jesse.
Oh, man. All right, Nate, man.
That was a mic drop if I've ever seen one.
But always a pleasure to have Nate on. And what we're going to do, we're going to take our last break, and we'll be back for a final segment where these guys get to wear a GM hat. We'll be right back on Hanging with the Boys.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. When there's work to be done, a real workhorse can make all the difference. Like the Range Boss package. Our 5075E John Deere 75 horsepower tractor features a bell spear and loader and starts at $369 per month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay. No surprises. It works like a horse, so you don't have to.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now, let's get to work.
Back to Hanging with the Boys.
Get breakdowns of each position battles to watch, scouting reports for every player, and more with the official 2021 Dallas Cowboys Star Magazine Training Camp Preview. Get your digital copy today for only $4.95 at DallasCowboys.com/star. And this is our final segment, my final segment on Hanging with the Boys. So I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to make the most of it.
I might make some calls and get you.
I'm like you, man. When, they don't consult. They don't consult at all. And here with the gang, Kurt Daniels, and what the heck, vote Danny Sarek.
What the heck? Let's hear more about his political career.
Yeah, it was. Well, it wasn't short-lived. It was for a while. I was just saying in the break we were talking about, for everyone listening, I've been having middle school flashbacks, which you can imagine how terrible that is for the last couple of weeks, because hearing what the heck over and over again reminded me that in middle school, my older sister and I both used the same slogan when running for student council, and the slogan was, what the heck, vote Sarek. But it worked because we both made it. But it's just like, I keep hearing what the heck, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Look, Danny, if there's a heck involved, it's good. Don't even worry about it. Just don't even worry about it. It's a good thing, Danny. But guys, I teased before the break that we were going to put on our general manager hats, all right? And I'm going to hold you guys' feet to the fire, because there's not going to be any middle of the road stuff here right now, because Stephen Jones and Will McClay have a really tough job at it's pretty much getting this roster filed down. You got a lot of players. There might be a few players that may not go through waivers, that people are waiting to cherry pick off of your roster. So I ask, and as Kurt Daniels is looking through the roster, no one did their homework here in the room. I'm looking at blank faces aside from Jesse. So, Jesse, I'll start with you.
Okay. Don't tell me I didn't do my homework.
I did not do my homework.
We love spicy. Hanging with the boys. Whatever we can get spicy.
Excuse him. Wow.
Whatever we can get. Tabasco.
Wow.
The little red sauce from Chipotle. We want spicy with the boys.
There it is. So Kurt, put your general manager hat on. And the reason I started thinking about this is because the last episode, I said something about core players, and you questioned me about the players that I thought were in the core group. So I said, wait a minute. This question is this is a big question. I'm sure Kurt Daniels has a few names or a name that he'd like to put on that list. So Kurt,
Spice Daniels, let's go, baby.
Spice Daniels, let's start with you.
I don't know.
K?
I don't know if I'm ready to cut him, because I haven't seen him enough play enough or whatever. But one guy, I wonder if he's now on the bubble where going into camp you thought he was pretty safe. Would it be Cedric Wilson? Brown's having a good camp, and they're saying the other
Malik Turner
saying he's having a good camp. Cedric Wilson makes more than these guys. There's no cap hit if he gets cut. I mean,
you are Jesse Holly and me.
Is this
right
a
now.
guy?
Just what you get. You wanted the spice. You wanted the spice, and now you got burned from the spice.
Right
he
now.
jumped on your. Yeah, he did.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
steer
all
your
good.
guy there, but
Kurt, you're in spicy mode. There's no apologizing when you locked in the spicy
that's
mode.
right. But is this a guy that should be looking over his shoulder now? Maybe a little concern he's going to be on this team.
Cedric Wilson. All right.
I don't like that these are going in writing, by the way.
Come on, Danny.
They're going to be forever. I'll admit I did not do my homework, so I'm looking.
Okay.
Can I go third?
Yes, you will. Jess?
So whoa, you called me. My mom calls me Jess.
Jesse.
I know. No, it's fine. When you said it, I felt like you were my parent. Like
no.
I'm like, what the heck? Vote for Sarek. You just threw me through a mom-son moment. The biggest thing for me is when you start looking at numbers, okay? And there's always, and I said this before, receiver, offensive lineman, DBs. The place that we have to start looking for numbers is safety.
Yeah.
We have to start looking at, I would not be shocked. This is if they keep 7 receivers. Would not be shocked. I would not be shocked one bit if they kept 7 receivers. Would not be shocked if they only kept 2 tight ends. Hopefully passing. You brought in Sprinkles in the offseason as a free agent signee.
Vic McKeon might go, huh?
I'm saying maybe we could try to stash him on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Get him. But look at the safety position, because it's hard to let good defensive backs go. And you're talking about a football team who historically has not given much value to the safety position. We always talk about this.
Oh my God, yes.
So all of a sudden, they're not going to start have this kind of 180 turn and all of a sudden they're hoarding all these safeties, because that DB position is so critical. And when you start looking at matchups, when you start looking who you have to play throughout the year, what does your division look like? What is your path to the Super Bowl? I'm gonna have to hope and pray that I get a guy like Malik Hooker to come along and actually play to that high draft pick billing that he before pre-injury, and then I have to start finding other pieces to kind of go with him. Maybe it's a Kazee, maybe it's someone else, but I just can't see me letting DBs just say what you want about Anthony Brown. He's a serviceable DB. 17-game season. Say what you want about Jordan Lewis, serviceable DB. Boss Man Fat might not start this year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a second-round draft pick. Boss Man might not start this year. That says a lot about what you have going on. And you're gonna have Diggs on one side, and then now is it Anthony Brown on the other side? Is it Boss Man? Is it whoever who's gonna play in the slot? Again, you need the numbers in the room, injury purposes, personnel reasons. So I see other positions maybe taking a hit. Tight end only carrying 2. You're gonna have to eventually do something with this offensive line at depth. We don't have good depth there. I don't care what nobody says. We ain't got good depth there. So offensively, I can see them trying to keep 7. Simi Fehoko might be on his way out. They might not be able to keep him. So there's a lot of things. Might try to get him it might not work. It's a good problem to have. It's a problem nonetheless. But for me, look at that safety position, tight end position, as a position that may see shorter numbers, smaller numbers than you normally would, to keep other numbers at a surplus.
So, Jesse, you should go to law school and have ESQ at the end of your name, because you still haven't answered my question.
What is your question?
Who's the guy who's the player? You give me a name. I'm like, come on.
Oh, you just want one name?
I want names. If you want to just one name or names, so give me something.
He wants to be able to have those receipts.
I'm seeing guys like Simi you may see cut. I'm seeing guys like Sprinkle. You may see let go.
Darian Thompson, maybe.
Darian Thompson, you may see guys like that let go. Just to give you a couple names, you may see guys like that be let go because you might say Cedric Wilson, but he's a veteran guy who plays special teams, and does other stuff like that. Yeah. And again, Simi has done nothing in training camp that has impressed us besides being big. That's it. Hadn't made no plays. We don't really hear about him on special teams. And when you're going into this year, Bones Foster is going to say, if I have to choose a guy, I'm going to take the guy who I got a little bit more experience with than the rookie. Maybe we can pass him through. So I'm saying those names.
Danny?
Just because we haven't talked about this position group yet, I'm looking at the linebackers, and just because he was drafted with a different coaching staff, he's been hurt. We haven't seen a lot of him. I don't know that Luke Gifford has a long future here.
Luke Gifford.
Which I liked him. He just hasn't had the experience. He hasn't, right? Yeah. Like if they like Jabril Cox more, I don't. And he might get the axe.
In my lawyer bag.
You there?
Football's fluid. Things change. Injuries happen. Don't hold us to this.
Come on.
Don't come tweet me later on and say, well, you said on August whatever. So I know you're writing down.
Yes.
But football is very fluid, and it changes often. Day to day, by the way. So I'm just saying, when you write these names down, don't hold me to that.
Come on.
Yeah,
I know.
same.
I gave you the names already.
I thought you was going to go out. You was going to jump into something else.
I was my lawyer back defending.
No. I got you. You had me. I was all ears right there.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
they might cut that. No, I'm playing.
Boy, stop. and the one name that I came up with, and I think there's so much being asked of him, is Ty Nsekhe, that swing tackle position. He's 36 years old, hadn't had the greatest camp from what I'm hearing, and we know how badly we need a swing tackle. And I think we've all talked about it. That person may not be on our roster right now. We're scouring the earth and cherry picking off of other rosters as well for that swing tackle position. So Ty Nsekhe would be the person that
He left practice yesterday, didn't he? With the bum knee.
So, again, things snowballing in that direction. I'm just saying, those are players that we may want to watch. But, guys, getting to the game that's going to be tomorrow, the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, for us in the second preseason game, we didn't want to make a lot of the first preseason game. Jesse was like, hey, man, let's not have a lot of expectation there. But now going to the second preseason game, Jesse, players to watch, matchups, things to expect.
The guy who wanted more reps. Yeah. And then in the Hall of Fame game, Micah Parsons. We want to see more of him. I want to see that knowledge. There was something that was said on Hard Knocks, and it might have just went past people's head, but it caught my ear and it rang loud to me. Micah Parsons comes to the sideline and he's like, "Man, I just want to make plays, right?" And he's like, "I'm all over the place." And Leighton Vander Esch says, "Yeah, you want to make every play." That's not a great thing, because what happens is that eagerness gets you out of position. And it was kind of like Leighton was like, "Listen, homie, we want you to make plays, but sometimes you got to take on the block and let me make the play."
Yeah.
And you've done your job. Don't let the rookie eagerness and emotions, because you ain't played football in 18 months, have you jumping gaps. Because what's going to end up happening is the eye in the sky is going to be like, "Oh, look at this little happy feet young linebacker with all the speed we got here."
Young lion.
And you're going to think it's going this way, and next thing you know, when you turn around, that guard going to be coming back around and the ball going to be 40 yards down the field. It rang so loud to me because Leighton said it was like, "I remember that."
Sage advice.
I remember when I was that young and just wanted to run around, and I was
like he wanted to pat him on the head.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, I hope people caught that nugget, because while we're saying he has speed, he has this and this and this, understand that this league watches everything. And if they see you start doing some stuff, they're like, "Oh." Like Tampa will go back and listen to them.
Oh, God.
No, I'm just saying.
You know Tom Brady's watching that. You know he's watching that
and
sure.
It doesn't take much. It takes one step out of your lane. It takes one moment of hesitation, and you're blocked, and the ball's gone, and it's a crease. Like, that is the finite. And so when I heard that, I was like, ooh, I said, look at Leighton giving some, what'd you call it, sage advice. Sage advice. Mm-hmm. And I hope people caught that. Right. I hope people caught that. So when you watch a guy like Micah Parsons, who's just the young lion, he's Simba. He's just like, I want to go to the dark place that my dad told me not to go to, because I'm ready. Rawr. Don't get yourself
We
caught.
got a Lion King reference on this show, guys.
Don't get yourself caught.
Awesome.
You're out of position.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the evolution of there. And then, of course, low-hanging fruit. What are these quarterbacks going to do?
You're back to stealing things from people.
Yep, there it is. So,
Golly.
so Danny just trying to expound on that. So what are
I
you
was
looking
just
for?
going to say quarterbacks. Like, let's see a little bit more of what we have in Gilbert now that we've got one preseason game down. Maybe we'll have a little more consistency and some better, help with the offensive line there. So let's see, are the Cowboys looking for a third quarterback, or are they looking for a number two? Let's gauge more of Garrett Gilbert this game and really see where the Cowboys are in that stance.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones. One, the offensive line, and two, the cornerbacks. I'd like to see, there's Nashawn Wright, can he build off what he did last game? It's, I'd love it if Kyler Murray and Hopkins were playing. I doubt they will.
No.
It'd be nice to get a little test there, but, can those guys keep building? And then obviously as you just mentioned with Nsekhe, the swing tackle position is very much up in the air. So kind of kind of see what any progress is made there.
Let's go Brandon Knight, Terrence Steele. Show us what
That's
you
right.
got.
That's right.
Yeah,
Alacron or Alacron, how do you say that was name? He wants his cake.
Isaac.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to taste the cake. So we're gonna get a large sample of Colt McCoy instead of probably Kyler Murray. But the player that I'm watching on defense is going to be Watkins. I think that I think a lot of people are overlooking his potential impact on this team. Carlos Watkins from Clemson, from the University, from Houston Texans. I think he's a player that's making some impact, and you see him every time with the ones going. So I want to see what Watkins does. But again, it goes back to what you were saying about the offensive line. Lael Collins is another guy that I want to watch. I want to see him with more reps. I think that his injury last year is a lot more devastating than people lead on to at the right tackle spot. And I believe that, getting him more work from being out all season, I think is imperative for this team, and to build his confidence in having that labrum surgery on his hip. But guys, it's going to be our show. I want to make sure that I say this first, and I got to say this, that this has been absolutely phenomenal and awesome to be hosting with you guys on Hanging with the Boys.
Talk to Kyle, and, see if you can scooch him off to the.
Bye, Kyle.
Take a
Look,
host
man,
over. Take over.
Look, man, don't even start that on our show. We got enough. Look, hey, Kyle Yeomans is the golden calf. All right, so don't even get me started with that. But you guys, it's been awesome, man. And after this show, I know all the podcasts are going to go back, and we're going to be, bucking heads again, all right, with all the competition that we have. But, guys, this has been absolutely amazing.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I liked getting to work with y'all because I don't get to work with y'all all that often normally during the regular season.
No, I enjoyed it. You were great, man.
Man, thank you, man.
I appreciate the way that you, and we talked about this before the show, your energy. And you talk about relatability, right? There are tons of people who might want to say, I would have loved to have been in Jesse Holly's seat to be someone who's played. There are a ton of people who want to be in your seat.
But it's only one me, dog.
There's not even a seat, though.
Did you body roll?
He's still going.
Did he body roll?
I body rolled in the SWBC.
Another alley-oop up there for you.
I always have to be mindful when we have the lady in the house what to say, how to say certain things. Because I told you I can't go to the principal's office till October. But now you've been phenomenal, Danny. Thank you for sitting in. You smell much better than Isaiah. Stand back, and we appreciate that here at Hanging with the Boys.
Dude, you guys are too much. For Jesse, for Danny, and for Kirk Daniels, Cowboy Nation, I hope your team win.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.